you have to picture out yourself away from this problem. You have to see it in another point of view, that this is just a small problem, but you have a world, a beautiful world. You have more abundance. So rather focusing on this kind of problems, you could focus on what you're grateful for, what you have accomplished so far. And I think that's how I overcome my problems. Or
welcome everyone to LifewithLiza podcast. Our mission at LifewithLiza is to share people's stories and the challenges that they had overcome, so that those listening in can get the courage, the strength, and the hope to be their better selves. Today we have a very special guest. I'm super excited about having this podcast. She is a millennial entrepreneur. She's passionate about building communities, and she is great at empowering herself and those around her. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Liza, for inviting me once again to be part of inspiring other women as just like us. I'm so excited. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Great to have you here. I have a question for you to start off our conversation today. So how did you embark on the journey of a millennial entrepreneur? How did it all start?
Okay, it started when last year, actually. It was the start of the pandemic where everything has gone from 360, a shift, right? So our mindset was just limited. So we just wanted to have one source of income from our work. But then everything changes. My dad died. I was
I'm
having
sorry
a
to
rough
hear
time.
that.
Yeah, it's okay now. So things happen for a reason. So it made me become aware of the things that we don't have a hold of life. So we only have one life, and things will change. It's not our choice not to have a anytime we could lose our work, anytime anything could happen. So it one friend of mine on Facebook, she invited me to have a business part-time. So while I was working, it's okay because part-time source of income. We could do this part-time. So I looked into it and I was excited. And also, it's more than just having a business of your own, but it's also having a community that you can call yourself, that a community that could inspire you to become your best version of yourself, and while also handling your online business. So she invited me, and I agreed to become part of her community, of her to become one of her business partners. And then, yeah, my mindset completely changed from just being a regular employee to have a different mindset, an entrepreneur mindset. Yeah.
Nice. And what would you say is the biggest change in between the employee mindset and the entrepreneur mindset?
I think the biggest change in mindset is from being an employee, have a nine to five mindset. So when you're working, work, and you have to please your boss. But then when you're having your online business, your own business, you get to do outside of the box, like go the extra mile for your customers, for your clients, and appreciate or understand them. Okay, go because at your job you're required to do this and do that, but after 9 to 5, it is your dream that you're working on. So your boss at the end of the day will be your own boss. Okay, your salary will be the same, but your work, you're working on your dreams. You're working for your business, so you have to do the extra mile. So even a contest of sleepless hours, you have to sacrifice a instant gratification, if you call that. Yeah.
Yeah. And how is it to be your own boss, even part-time? What do you think of yourself as your own boss? Are you strict?
I have to have a daily method of operation. Like, you have a strict schedule, what time you're going to do your business, how many hours you get to do or talk to a lot of prospects and make a sale. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about that, I was wondering, what would you say are the skills necessary to be an entrepreneur, to actually start your small or participate in your small online business? Which skills did you notice that you had to get, or the ones you noticed you already had, which were suitable for this?
I think the biggest skill that you have to have is a grit. Like, anyone could learn a skill. Anyone can learn how to be a good seller or a good entrepreneur. But at the end of the day, if you don't have passion at what you're doing, the skills will just a waste, You have to have a passion to help other people, to have an empathy, to help other people. It's not just about earning lots of thousands of dollars. It's more than just having a business. It's more than having a business. It has to be aligned with your purpose or your calling. Yeah.
You're saying beautiful things, Jamie, beautiful things. And so what is that passion for you? Do you feel like it's already aligned, or you're more moving towards that direction? And what is it?
I think I'm moving towards that direction. Okay. Because in my business, I get to help people become more healthy, more stronger, and protect their immune system. That's how our passion is. Our business is about improving their health and going back to their, reminding themselves that they have to take care of their health. Because at the end of the day, we get to go home, we get to earn, we get to work, but our health has to be our priority as well.
Yeah. And also you mentioned creating the community. And I know that also from our previous conversation that you're very passionate about communities and you felt the impact of the community yourself. So can you tell us the story about the impact that being part of a community has had on you, and also why you're so passionate about creating more communities?
Okay. Good question. Because when I was doing this kind of business, online business, the smallest thing will make a big difference. Maybe at my point of view, I didn't get to inspire people. But when I get messages from women around my age or younger than my age, and they would tell me, wow, you're so positive. Wow, you're amazing. How were you able to do this? I'm like, no, I didn't have, I'm not that great. I'm not that good. But
Oh, you
seeing
are,
or
Jamie.
hearing them sending me this kind of messages, it's it gives me a feeling of being that I'm doing something great. I'm doing something that is making a positive impact on them, even if I don't know if it's gonna work, but it works for them and it's amazing. And I didn't ask them to message me. I didn't ask them to, but just like what you do, you're inspiring people, even if people don't tell you that you're inspiring me. It's amazing. And to get to this community and building this community, people are beginning to wait for your post every day. Your post makes them their day better.
And it makes you feel great because you just contributed to making someone else's day even 1% better. But that internal gratitude that you can feel.
Yeah.
And actually, on the point that you just mentioned, when you said that somebody else messages you and says, Jamie, you're so positive, you look so happy. I had a question to you. So you look really positive and happy. So are you positive and happy all the time, or do you also have bad days? And if so, how do you deal with your bad days? How do you make sure that you still get the things done? What is your strategy and approach to it?
Okay. So I'm just like anybody else. I'm just normal. I get ups and downs. I get sad moments, happy moments. And no, you go to your work, and you have this crazy boss. They have this demand from you. But looking at this, you have to picture out yourself away from this problem. You have to see it in another point of view, that this is just a small problem, but you have a world, a beautiful world. You have more abundance. So rather focusing on this kind of problems, you can focus on what you're grateful for, what you have accomplished so far. And I think that's how I overcome my problems. Or okay, some days you will cry. Oh, it's okay to cry. It's okay not to feel okay. I think it's a song. So at that point, you cry. You tell yourself bad things, but you have to get up. You have to stand up and remind yourself of your true power, because no one can save you, and you can only save yourself. So there's a lot of motivation out there, a lot of books that you can read. But if you don't apply it to yourself, then it's just a book. You have to apply and learn from it, apply it to yourself, and be surrounded by nature, of what you love, of how you have to know where you get your energy is. Okay, so my energy, I get it from maybe having a solitude time for me, or a walk in the park. That's how I overcome my problems or challenges.
That's great, Jamie. You touched on so many different points, that actually the knowledge is just knowledge unless we actually apply it and do things with it. So also that it's okay to not be okay. And I think that's something that with social media, it's a bit harder to see, because the thing that we see is the image of the happiest, healthiest versions of ourselves.
Yes.
And the other part is, it's really important for us to be aware of where do we personally get the energy, what can we do to re-energize ourselves, and how can we actually get through the tough times, to kind of have a plan around that as well. And do you give yourself any time limit on how long you can dwell upon the negative things? For example, because I can imagine if you said to yourself, it's okay to not be okay, but do you tell yourself for how long it's okay to not be okay? Or is it you naturally pass through it, because you would not want to be stuck for years in the situation where you're not okay, right?
Yeah. So normally what I do is, I am a very emotional person. So when I get a very sad news, or I get a big problem or this, I tend to focus on that. But then I remind myself that it won't matter in 5 years. So you have to allot a certain amount of time. Maybe I focus, or maybe 2 hours. That's a long time, actually. 2 hours of thinking of the problem, or being sad or lonely or feeling stuck. So I would, in that 2 hours, I try to feel every emotions. I would cry just like anybody else. I would cry and listen to music. And then I start to think of, what can I do? What can I change? Or what I can improve? But it's best to shorten the amount of time being sad, being lonely, feeling stuck. Because I've read this in Mel Robbins. I listened to her YouTube videos, and she said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You said you have to set yourself just like a rocket. You have to launch yourself, and you have to set yourself in motion rather than thinking of doing things. You have to take action on it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think it's important, as you mentioned, to actually take the time to process the emotion, to do whatever you need to do, to actually let it go and not kind of constrain it in your body, because that would only come out in way worse forms and then you just say cried it out, or whichever release you personally have. And then to actually thinking of the actions. Okay, what can I actually do? And I find it very empowering to think, okay, what can I actually do? Because then at least my mind knows, oh, I can actually do something to impact the situation. It shifts you like in a different way of thinking, which I find very powerful. And based on that, I was wondering, so how do you actually then take action? Not just like think about taking action, but actually taking action, creating the momentum. Do you have any advice or anything that you personally do?
Okay. First was to believe that you can change, you can set things in motion. And by doing that, you have to feel the energy. I would first work out and feel your body moving, and then do your daily method of operation or how you do the business. That's how I normally process, take action on it.
Yeah, me too. I find there's just something magical about actually working out. I feel like it does release some certain emotions. And then
Yes.
even when, so actually, to be honest, I have my best workouts when I'm angry, because
Yes.
then I can really push myself, and I feel like I'm using my anger as fuel to actually have a great workout. And after I finished my workout, I was like, oh, okay, now I can get on with my life. It's fine. I can actually take action.
When you're pissed at someone, you would punch the boxing bag. I've
Yeah.
tried that.
I read one of your posts that you recently posted on Instagram, and you were talking about expanding yourself, and basically you gave there quite some practical steps that people could actually take towards it. Can you do you remember the post or the steps that you mentioned there, so that you can maybe share some of the practical actions here as well?
I see. Actually, I found this by listening to one of Lavender videos. So I was taken aback by it. So it's very close to my heart. And it's about 8 ways to expand yourself. Coming from a very insecure person, I had low self-esteem before. I didn't know how to speak in English. I had lots of insecurities in my life. So I've grown to expand myself by following this kind of tips. So number one is to do things that scares you. So even if it's little, like this, it is out of the ordinary. We're two different people from different sides of the world, but we are growing, we're expanding, we're going outside of our comfort zone. It is scary. It's risk, but it's worth the time, it's worth the effort, right? So number two is to network, meet different kinds of people. So this year I had to my intention is to go outside of my comfort zone. My intention is to meet different kinds of people, know where they're coming from, know their backgrounds, know their cultures, know how their mind works. And it's amazing to see people from different kinds of parts of the world. And number three is read motivational books. So last time I read this, where is the book? Okay, so it's Anthony Robbins. It's amazing book, and I haven't finished it, but I'm going to finish it before the end of this month. So we have to um, expand ourselves by reading motivational books, because the years of the experience from this kind of authors, we will grow so much based on their knowledge, their experience, their mistakes, their experiences from these problems. And number 4 is to listen to inspiring podcasts. I love listening to podcasts, especially with this podcast, Taking Back My Power. I don't know if you know it, but or Style Your Mind is amazing podcast as well, about entrepreneurship, about taking risk. And number 5 is learn a new skill or language. So it is best to learn a new language with someone, with other person that is always constantly push herself or himself by learning a new language. So it's best to have a partner to learn a new skill or a new language, like a French, or someone that you could exchange a new language, because it's hard to practice French when you're just alone, right? So you have to have a partner with you. Travel if you can. Travel even if it's 5 miles away from your house. Travel to a different city, even if you're alone, because you will get lost. You will find yourself more than anything. You will find a new perspective about life. You will see different people, how they get to communicate or associate themselves with other people. You get to see how they react on things. So you will get how they treat their dogs. It's a beautiful thing to see from the outside world, just to travel, just to experience things. And number 7, believe that it is possible for you to achieve your goals. Use the law of attraction. I am that woman. I am worthy. My dreams are coming true. Okay, so Liza, you are amazing. The people I know are here. They're amazing. They're incredible. And they just have this power that they could unleash. They could to become an influence, become a person that they're dreaming of. And it's in their inner soul that they just need to let it out and focus on making progress every single day, no matter how small it is, no matter how we think that we're not making progress. I know a lot of people, especially me, I don't, sometimes you think of yourself that I'm not making any progress in life, or this or that, I have this huge problem. But when you think about it, even just waking up early morning, even just reading a book, a few chapters a day, could make you grow, could make you expand a better person. And it's progress. It's still called a progress. We should be rather working on being a progress person rather just being a perfect person. We are not a perfect human beings. We are just normal human beings making extraordinary every single day, making extraordinary moments and trying to live every moment amazing, beautiful memories every single day. And it's life. Okay. So
Mic drop, Jamie, mic drop.
So
That
yeah,
has been beautiful. I just didn't want to even interrupt because I just wanted to get the whole piece. I think that those 8 points are so practical and so useful, and anyone now listening to this podcast can just pick one of those points and just take action. Take action today. I encourage you to take action. Take some steps. Your progress matters. You will underestimate the progress that you take on a daily basis, but it accumulates. if you even improve 1% a day, it is 37x over a course of a year. It matters, it does. And yeah. And Jamie, before I ask my last question, I wanted to ask you, where can people find you, connect with you? What kind of social media do you use?
You can find me on Instagram, Jamie S'mores, because I love s'mores. Yes, Jamie S'mores.
Cool. Send Jamie a message. If you're listening to it, she would love that. And my last, actually not the last question, but two last questions that I had were, which one thing that you have already done that you would have regretted if you didn't do it?
Can you repeat that again? I want to engrave it in my mind.
So what is one thing or one of the things that you already did and you would have regretted if you didn't do it?
I see. So the one thing that I would do every time, and if I don't do it, I will regret it, is to move or migrate to another country. So looking back, like 4 years ago, I was completely in my comfort zone. So when I moved here in Abu Dhabi, I was exposed to different cultures. I was exposed to different people, and it made me question myself because I'm here. I get to discover a new place. I get to discover new people. So I have to go outside of my comfort zone and not just live like a little girl, same person just like 4 years ago. I have to expand myself. I have to grow myself because I don't want to be the same person just like 4 years ago or 10 years ago. I want to grow. I want to be my best version of myself. And by migrating or living in another country, it made my whole perspective change.
And just for everyone who's listening who doesn't know, Jamie, you are originally from Philippines and then you moved to Abu Dhabi, right?
Yes.
And you still have some plans to also move to different countries sometime in the future.
Yes.
And then the second question also, it's kind of linked to the first one. So the second one is, what do you still want to do? And you want to do it so much that you know for sure that you would definitely regret it if you don't do it. When you'll be, older and looking back at your life, you'll be like, I really wanted to do it and I didn't do it and I really regret it. What is that thing?
I think that would be traveling, even if I'm alone. Travel to a different city or travel to a different country.
And why do you think travel is so important that you would regret it so much not doing it?
Okay, it's included in my bucket list. Things to do before you turn 30 years old. So time is limited, time is gold. So because when you get to travel, you get to be outside of your comfort zone, which is I like. You get to be scared, but at the same time you conquer your fears. You get to communicate with locals who doesn't know how to speak in English. You try to speak on their level. You try to understand their knowledge, their culture, their tradition, and your patience will be tested. You will get a different experience in your life. So I haven't done a lot of travelings in my life, but I want to experience more traveling before I turn 30 years old, within cities that I don't know, but most of all, it has to be safe. I want to travel to a city that there's so much culture in it, people that will give you more knowledge, that you will be exposed to a different kind of life, and you will get this to understand where they're coming from and just to live and see what they're eating, how they communicate to other people, their how they dance, how they talk, and sometimes you will get lost in track, and it's perfectly fine. I got lost here in this Abu Dhabi. I almost cried, but it's a learning experience and it's beautiful.
What cities on your... Sorry, go ahead.
You get to travel here in Abu Dhabi. We could travel the city together. I would show you the city.
I would love that. I would love that. But what other cities are on your bucket list? If you could name, because you said you want to travel and you have a bucket list. Which cities would you like to visit? If you could just name a few.
I would love to go to Venice, Greece, Armenia, Bali. Mostly this cities, yeah.
And if the universe is listening to this, we're manifesting Jamie's travels to those countries.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie. I think it's a great note to wrap up our conversation today. I enjoyed it very much. It's almost so much fun to connect with you, and you share so much wisdom, and I love listening how you learned so many lessons in your life and faced adversity with so much courage and rose from it and became even stronger. And I'm looking forward to seeing you grow and where you'll end up in 5 to 10 years.
I wish also the same, Liza. I'm excited for this. I know you will have more upgrades in your videos, taking recordings. You will have different setup of lights, more people in your YouTube channel, more people, more community for you, more growth, and more lives to inspire.
Thank you, Jamie.